Well, the Bengals are reportedly listening to trade offers for all-pro pass rusher Trey Hendrickson. That's according to multiple reports. Though the Bengals are fielding offers, no deal is imminent. Now, Hendrickson, who led the NFL in sacks last season with 17 and a half, has been locked in a long contract stalemate with Cincinnati. For more, welcoming in CBS Sports NFL analysts Damien Harris and Brock Vereen. Damien, let's start with the Bengals here. Trey Hendrickson's contract situation continues to remain a topic for a team whose defense really struggled last season. And despite the explosive offense, Cincinnati still on a 2-year playoff drought. So how did the Bengals get over the hump this year?
Well, they've just got to get better defensively. I mean, a lot of people have this Bengals team ranked as one of the top 5 worst defenses in the whole National Football League. Then your number 1 star on the defensive side of the ball, he's in the middle of a contract holdout. So this is all about the Bengals defense. Listen, we know when we talk about Joe Burrow, as far as traditional quarterback play goes, there's nobody better than him. Nobody delivers the ball in the pocket to his playmakers the way that the way that Joe Burrow does. Having guys like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, that just makes him better and better every single year. They got paid. Now they don't have any distractions. So the recipe for success for the Cincinnati Bengals is going to be improve on defense. How they're going to do that, I'm not sure. They just drafted Shamar Stewart. They finally got him on the field. So hopefully he can be a difference maker because, again, without your top defensive player in Trey Hendrickson, it's just an uphill battle for the entire season.
Damien, I'm right there with you. And new defensive coordinator Al Golden's going to have to figure that out. I would love to have been in that meeting when they said, hey, we had a historically bad defense and we need you to turn it around. And he says, okay, did you get me any new players in free agency? And they said, no, go figure it out. And by the way, your rookie is going to be playing through all of the spring. It's going to be tricky. Now, offensively, we know what we're getting with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. The problem is, until the Cincinnati Bengals decide that the first month of football matters, nothing else matters. How many years at the end of the year are we sitting there saying, man, if the Bengals just took the first month seriously, they wouldn't be in this situation? 4-13-1. That is the Bengals' record in the first 3 weeks under the 6 years under Zach Taylor. The 1 year they had a winning record in the first 3 weeks, they went to the Super Bowl. They need to take this first month seriously.
Hey, start strong is an important point to be made. Now, the Bengals have their second preseason game against Commanders on Monday Night Football. Commanders didn't play starters in week 1 of the preseason. Remains to be seen how much the ones will take the field on Monday night. Dan Quinn said quarterback Jayden Daniels will play a few series. So, Brock, what do you expect to see from Daniels in his sophomore season?
Delayed fireworks is what I will call it. Jayden Daniels is special, but Cliff Kingsbury had some interesting things to say just a few days ago about how frustrating this offense has been and how frustrated this offense has been. Why? Well, you don't have Terry McLaurin. Noah Brown was slow to the practice field. He's just became full go. You're missing both of your offensive guards. Samuel Cosmi, of course, tore his ACL in the Detroit playoff win, and Brandon Coleman has been injured most of camp. That is the core of your offense, your 2 outside receivers and your 2 offensive guards. What is this offense even going to look like? We don't know. Yes, Jayden Daniels can run the ball. You got Austin Eckler. You have Brian Robinson. Of course, Zach Ertz is going to ball. But a lot of this offense is going to have to be between the hashes, and we'll see what Deebo Samuel can do as well. But I'm expecting a limited offense to start the season. Terry McLaurin comes back, hopefully sooner rather than later. He gets his legs under him. Then they can become explosive. But I'm expecting a slow start.
Yeah, Brock, you make a lot of good points. And I think that this is where the team has to lean on the leadership of Jayden Daniels. And what I expect to see, even in a preseason game, your growth as a leader needs to be evident in the way that your team plays. So things like sideline communication, getting substitutions in and out of the huddle correctly, playing penalty-free football, not making and creating negative plays, not turning the ball over, things like that, having clean, crisp operations. Because, again, you have guys, but, again, you're missing your top guy on offense, Jayden Daniels' top weapon, and Terry McLaurin, because, again, he's dealing with a contract situation. So how do you overcome challenges like that? It's by a young kid who is proven he's one of the most talented players in the National Football League, leading his team to an NFC Championship game in his rookie season. Now his leadership has to take that next step. And, again, if the guys around him start to follow suit behind him, I think Brock is right. I think it might be delayed, but then towards the end of the season, we can see those fireworks that we normally expect.
I like that. That leadership, that rising tide raises all ships out there. Now, Bengals Commanders Monday Night Football. We'll see a lot of players trying to earn a roster spot in this league. So, Damien, who are your under-the-radar players to keep an eye on in primetime?
Well, for this game, one guy that I really want to pay attention to is DB for the Washington Commanders, Trey Amos. Now, he's a guy that was drafted, and last year he didn't really have a good year. Now, they definitely need a cornerback too because they have Marshawn Lattimore, but again, I think we saw last year in the NFC Championship game that all roads lead through Philadelphia right now. So when you've got guys like A.J. Brown outside, Devontae Smith on the inside. Now you just add a guy in John Mechie. Even with Saquon Barkley being a receiver out of the backfield, you're going to need guys that can cover. So I look for Trey Amos to make a big jump. He's had a good training camp. Let's see what he goes and does on tape tonight. And let's see if he can carry that throughout the season.
I'll go ahead and stick with Washington as well, but I'll go on the offensive side of the ball. Wide receiver Michael Gallup. We have obviously mentioned the Terry McLaurin situation, and the longer that this goes on, the longer it's going to take him to get ready in game shape and get on the field. How about Michael Gallup, who came out of retirement just to play for Dan Quinn? Plenty of experience in Dallas, some solid seasons, a 1,000-yard season. And let's face it, Debo needs to prove that he can be the Debo of old. He's been banged up. Has he lost a step? We don't know. We won't know until we see it. So maybe it's Michael Gallup who has to really step up to the occasion, prove to be a temporary #1 wide receiver. As you mentioned, Noah Brown is still coming back from an injury, so we'll see. He's out of retirement, has some fresh legs. Can Michael Gallup turn some heads? I would love to see it.
I mean, hey, a lot of players to watch on the Washington side of ball, but what about the Cincinnati side? I mean, we talked about their needs on defense. Undrafted D tackle Howard Cross out of Notre Dame stood out after that first preseason game. Will he be somebody to watch? Is there a player on Cincinnati's side, Brock, that you've got your eye on as well?
Nickelback Dax Hill. The Dax Hill story's been a little tricky. The first 2 years he comes in as a safety, has over 100 tackles in his second year. Going into last year, he moves to cornerback. And we saw what the defense went through, but a huge part of it was because Dax Hill tears his ACL early in the season. Now he's listed as a nickelback again. And if you go back to his time at Michigan, he played everywhere. Free safety, strong safety, corner on the outside, nickel. He played outside linebacker at times. He can do everything. The question is, can Al Golden trust him, and what position will he be in? We saw every single defensive back that wore the Cincinnati Bengals uniform a year ago struggled. I feel the first key in place is where will Dax Hill be, and then you can set up the pieces around him.
Yeah, I'm going in the secondary as well. And this is a guy who I think flies under the radar for the talent that he has and the potential that he has. And that would be safety Jordan Battle. He's an Alabama guy. So you know a DB that comes through the Alabama Nick Saban coaching tree can play at a high level. And I think he's shown a lot of glimpses. He can cover at times. He can play down in the box. He's not afraid to tackle. He's been good in certain blitz schemes and blitz packages. So I think that he's a guy that can really bring an edge to this Bengals defense. But it's just going to be how much has he improved from last year to this year. Again, there aren't a lot of bright spots for the Bengals, but this is a player that can come in, be a leader because he's got some experience in the league now. He's made some plays. And again, he knows how to play the position well. And as being a member of the secondary, he's got to be able to recognize things. He's got to call out plays. He's got to make signals. So he's going to be a guy that can make a difference from the Cincinnati Bengals defense. But again, he's just got to show up, be a leader, and encourage the guys around him to play at the level that he is at.
CBS Sports NFL analyst Damien Harris and Brock Vereen, thanks so much for the insight. Well, week 1 of the regular season is just around the corner, just a couple of weeks away. The Bengals and the Commanders each starting their seasons in the division. Bengals facing the Browns week 1, a team with a lot of questions at quarterback, some young guys in that room, and the Commanders taking on the Giants, a team that's 2-0 in the preseason so far with some fireworks on offense. Regular season just a few weeks away.